Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Krissy Monaghan, your host, and today we're joined by Pip Rothwell, founder of Technology Triumphants, a multi-award winning education company making creative qualifications more accessible through flexible online courses for young people, including home-educated learners. Pip is a triple finalist for the Class Business Awards for Tutor of the Year, Customer Excellence of the Year, and Service Innovation of the Year. I can't wait to find out more about her and her business, so let's dive in. Pip, it's absolutely amazing to have you with us today on the podcast. For everyone who is listening online or watching us on YouTube, please tell everyone who you are, what do you do, and where do you do it?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, first of all. But yes, I'm Pip and I founded a company called Technology Triumphants Limited 7 years ago now, which is an online provision predominantly for home-educated learners, helping them to gain GCSE and A-level comparable qualifications in creative subjects remotely. So whilst I am based down in Kent on the Isle of Sheppey, we have learners from all over the UK, and last time I checked, 15 other countries as well. So the design of the provision means that we can reach any number of learners from anywhere in the world. So, yeah.
And so you started 7 years ago. So where did the actual concept come from?
So I was a DT teacher. I was a head of department in a school setting. And I was becoming increasingly frustrated with the restrictions of teaching in a mainstream school in my particular area where budgets were being squeezed. The last year I was teaching, I was actually allocated a 33 pence per learner per year as a budget to teach DT, woodwork and all of that. So it was making it really difficult for me to teach my subject. And I was seeing the impact this was having on young kids that needed this subject. I wasn't able to do what I was what my career was. So I was looking for alternative employment because I'd lost all job satisfaction. I just felt like I was not even childcare. I felt like I was crowd control and I wasn't doing what I'd trained to do and what I was passionate about. So I was looking for alternative revenue stream just to get some job satisfaction alongside teaching still, and had a conversation with somebody I went to school with who home educated her young boy, and she suggested, have you considered private tuition towards home educated learners? And I hadn't. It was a completely new concept to me. I didn't know much about it. Decided to explore that as an option. Decided I was just going to do sort of workshop based learning, nothing major, just a few kids 1 or 2 days a week, just so that I had that job satisfaction, if nothing else. And it started with 5 children around my dining room table on the Isle of Sheppey. And it was only then that I found out that back then there was no route for home educated learners to be able to get GCSE type qualifications in my subjects. So you could get a GCSE in English or maths, you could go and sit as an external candidate, but you couldn't do it in courses where there was a coursework element. So there was no option for these home educated kids to get qualifications in my subjects that would allow them to go onward to college or workplace. It was completely, the door was shut to them. So I didn't like that and decided to make it my mission to do something about it. So whilst on maternity leave with my second son, I took on the mammoth task of becoming registered independently under an awarding body, which is something that schools have teams for. Did it on my own, and whilst on maternity leave, technically still working in the school as well, because I had both going on at the same time, and did it. Became registered under NCFE, which they are, if you've not heard of them, they're not one of the better known exam boards for school settings, but they are very vocational. So the NHS tends to use them a lot. So these are portfolio-based qualifications. So there isn't an exam at the end of it. It's all portfolio, which makes sense for creative subjects. But they are accepted by most colleges and workplaces in place of GCSEs and now even A-levels as well. So that's how it started. Really humble beginnings. It wasn't some grand plan. It was, I saw a problem and I needed to fix it. And that's how TT came about. And so I went from having 5 children around my dining table to, I've probably missed a step here, to teaching in a little workshop on the Isle of Sheppey. So I had a few more. And then I had a parent reach out to me saying, I can't get my children to your facility. We live too far away. can you put it online? Can you put your provisions online? This was pre-COVID. So this was before this became the norm for a lot of tuition. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I can. So I thought about it, thought how I could, how am I going to protect the integrity of the courses? How am I going to teach online? How am I going to make sure that it's the learner's own work that's being submitted? Came up with a plan, contacted the exam board and said, this is the idea. Can I put it online? And their words were, well, that's never been done before. And I was like, doesn't mean it can't be done. So, so that was how it started, just pre-COVID. That was in the August, I think, 2019. And within 3 days of me launching my provisions online, I just chose one of my courses, which was the level 2 in cookery. I had 80 students sign up around the UK. So I went from having a handful around my dining table to 80 in 3 days of putting it online. And that's when I really understood the demand and the need for this provision, because clearly it didn't exist at that point. So since then, we've gone on to expand and offer more and more courses at different levels within different subjects, but sticking to what I know, sticking to what I'm most passionate about, which is the creative subjects, cookery, DT, textiles, photography, art, cake decorating. I think that's all of them. But yeah, and then from entry level, which is pre-GCSE, up to level 1, level 2, and now level 3.
Yeah, I mean, I was having a look at your website before the interview and I was like, wow, check all these courses out. And obviously it's a great opportunity for children. I'm still flabbergasted about the 33 pence budget per child per year.
I haven't got over it still.
Yeah, I mean, what can you buy for that? A pencil or something?
Barely, yeah. I was having to teach theoretically how to cut wood because we couldn't afford the wood to cut. So,
that is just absolutely nuts and insane. That is shocking. And so obviously, okay, so you had this idea, you had the concept, and there was obviously a demand out there from the audience. I'm just interested, first of all, where did the 80 people come from? Did you list somewhere or how did they find your course?
Yeah, so all I had was a Facebook page, and I literally just posted on my Facebook page into a couple of home ed forums locally, and that's all I did. I didn't pay for any advertising. It was so needed that they found me very quickly, and word got out very quickly. And the vast majority of my bookings, even to this day, is just through the recommendations of other home educating families. They just I don't need to do much. They come and find me. So it was a pleasant surprise for me. It was a shock. I was not anticipating that. I had no idea until that point just how necessary it was, because I was living, I live on an island. So I knew what was happening here and the demographic here, and I knew it was necessary here, but you don't really have a full picture of the rest of the UK and even overseas. So it wasn't until it went out live that I realised, oh no, this is a bigger problem. This is that I can be a solution to a much bigger problem than I even knew existed.
So that obviously all happened in the August pre-COVID. And then obviously, like you said, the exam board were like, we've never done anything online before, but, and then obviously COVID hit and then everything went online. Yeah. So there must have been a massive growth spurt of the business then.
Yeah, there was. And initially I was nervous because it drove every tuition service online. So suddenly there's going to be more competition now, whereas before it was quite empty because there wasn't such a demand for it. So I was initially nervous about the impact it would have on me as a tuition service, but we were already ahead of the curve. We were already there and established. We had our systems in place, so people knew that they could come to us, and then it wasn't just trying out how it's going to go. We're already established and know what we're doing. It saw a huge spike in bookings, and it hasn't stopped. They've continued to increase year on year. Home education anyway is increasing year on year. I thought it might tail off after the COVID period. I thought, I can understand there would be a spike. It actually led to me pulling my own child out of school. So I home educate both my boys as well. So I can understand why there would have been a spike in people withdrawing their kids from school, but the trajectory is still going up. So that obviously is good for business. For me, is increasing bookings with me because more people have a demand and a need for it. But yeah, I think it just opened up a lot of people's eyes to the prospect of the choice to home educate, because I think a lot of people didn't have an awareness around it. until COVID happened. And it made us realise that actually there is more than one way to do these things. And actually in the UK currently, education school is an opt-in service. So the legal responsibility lays with the parents to ensure their children are getting an appropriate education. When you enrol your child to school, you're handing over that responsibility to the school. But that's an opt-in. So you don't need permission. Currently, you don't need permission to home educate your child. That is your responsibility. How what provisions you put in place, whether that's school or otherwise, that's down to the parent, the individual parent. So I think even, I learned a lot. As a teacher, I did not know that. I didn't know that law. It was only when I had that conversation with my friend that I was like, oh, I just assumed everyone had to go to school. Yes. But it wasn't. Yes. Yeah. So, and I think COVID, what it did was just raise awareness around that.
Do you know do you know the numbers of how many families are home educating now? Do you know what the percentages are?
No, they don't know. They know that it's increasing, but there is currently right this second no register of home educated learners, although that is looking to be changed with a new law that's come in, which there's a lot of mixed feelings around. But yeah, we know it's increasing. But ultimately, if you've withdrawn your child from school, then they're on a system somewhere. They're known about by the local authority. But if you've never sent your child to school, then they're not necessarily known about. So we don't know exactly what the numbers are, but we do know they're increasing. I know for a couple of years ago, having spoken to my local authority officer, that in my county alone, in 1 year, an extra 1,000 children had been withdrawn from schools. So were in school and had been pulled out. And that was about 3 years ago. So long after COVID has been and gone, but still we're seeing that peak.
And I'm interested, obviously, you can tell you're creative and like you must have had. Did you devise your own courses? So the courses, have you written them all and then created them all? And so those ones are the ones that you're passionate about, the topics. Yes. I suppose you could go never ending, can't you, if you wanted to?
Yeah. I am a creative. So my degree was in silversmithing, goldsmithing and jewellery design. So I'm a designer. I'm good with my hand. My dad was a carpenter. I wanted to follow in his footsteps, hence becoming a resistant materials teacher. So I was teaching woodwork, teaching metalwork and all the rest of it. When you're I don't know if it's changed now. I've been out a few years, but when I went through my teacher training, you're kind of expected, if you're a DT teacher, you're expected to be able to teach basically all the DT subjects, which are quite varied and vast. So, and I did, and I'm a bit of an artist as well. So I was able to use these skills to build the courses. So the exam board have specifications, which is just a written document of these are the assessment objectives that need to be covered. But I write the content and create the tutorials around it. And, but additional to that, what I didn't mention at the beginning when I was listing the subjects, we've just started to broach into customised qualifications. And that's where they are accredited by the exam board. They're not necessarily Ofqual regulated. So they might not have credits attached that will help with college applications. Equally, they might, just because of the portfolio they help a learner to build. But what I'm able to do is look at what do our learners actually need and doesn't exist anywhere as a qualification. So we've just launched a new one for September, a level 2 certificate in bakery that can be done online. So we had a cookery one, but there's a big difference between cooking and baking. And a lot of our kids want to bake more than cook. So I couldn't find anything anywhere, so I've decided to make it myself. So that's just opened up a whole can of worms because I've got about 20 other courses in my head right now based on what I know our learners and our families want. So it's exciting times. But yeah, so
and obviously, you're meeting the needs of the market. And how many students have been through your courses?
I would say a couple of thousand at this point. So we, it's difficult to keep track of numbers because the way we run the courses is we don't, and this is where we're very different to a school setting. This is where we can help a lot of kids with special needs as well. We don't set any deadlines. We don't chase for work. We don't replicate school in that sense, and that takes away a lot of barriers for a lot of our young people. So, although we can see how many people have booked on in the last year, that number doesn't necessarily represent how many people are currently doing their courses, because we might have learners that fast track through their course in 6 months. They're designed as 2-year courses like a GCSE, but obviously these people are managing their own timetables at home. So how they how that looks at home, it can vary from learner to learner. So we've got some kids that pass track in 6 months. Some might take 4 or 5 years to complete one qualification. You know, in a school setting, if it was going to take them 4 or 5 years to complete the GCSE, they were never going to get it in the school setting because they only get the 2 years, generally speaking. So this enables those learners to actually achieve. So I can't say how many live right now. Roughly speaking, at any point in the year, I feel like we're assessing around 1,000 learners at a time. But yeah, it's a good couple of thousand that have come through.
Oh wow! And obviously, when those, like, how do you get? Obviously, you're making a massive impact, and you're helping all these children get their qualifications in what they want to do. Is there a way you get feedback from the young people or the people actually doing it, so you can see that actually it's working?
Yeah, we invite feedback all the time. We have an open door policy. We try and create a sense of community because this is something that might be a negative association with home education. Sometimes it can feel remote. Sometimes you can feel a little bit on your own. So a big part of what we do isn't just about, let's get these kids these qualifications. It's trying to create a sense of community. So we have awards, for example, a couple of times a year where we host a Facebook Live. We did one last night, actually, for the end of year. We give out prizes and we do a big showcase of their work and give out trophies and stuff like that. And we invite dialogue on the live. We invite dialogue via email. I have parents phoning me a lot, even when the communication between the assessor and the student can be a dialogue, and they're building a rapport that way as well. So although we're remote and we're not face to face, we still are able to build the sort of teacher-learner relationships that I would have missed from not working in a school. That would have been something that I would have been absolutely heartbroken that I wasn't able to build those relationships and that rapport with the learners and their families even. So yeah, open door policy is the way we do it. It's quite informal, relaxed. We have little community groups for each of our courses as well. So closed community groups where people can share their work, ask for advice from each other, ask for advice from us and my team. So there's always dialogue going on in different ways.
No, that's really, really cool. And what's the plan for the rest of this year? Like, have you got any big goals that you're like knocking down, or is it technically today is the last day of our academic year. So because it's beginning of the summer holidays, but that doesn't really mean much for us as a team. We're still working through the summer. We just switch our focus. So and our learners can still access their courses. They can still submit their work, which tends to happen a lot with home ed families. They don't tend to go on holidays during the half-time peak times because they can take their holiday elsewhere. So everything runs as normal, but we just have we call it a summer slowdown in terms of our communication. We might not be as quick to respond because we're switching our attention to course building. Every year we're building new courses to launch for September. So we never stop. Every year I say, I think we can take our foot off the accelerator for a bit now. And they're like, oh, but we could. And what about this? So it hasn't slowed down, despite my best intentions. We just keep going with it and running with the momentum and it's not just it's my whole team. We love what we're doing and we're getting so much job satisfaction. It feels good to do it. So we're going to keep doing it. Yeah. And I'm just interested, where did the name come from? Because obviously when I look at your web, when you heard your name, I was like, oh, maybe they're like tech coding stuff. But then when you go on the website, it's all creative. It's all
that was, I'm going to be brutally honest, I had the concept and the idea, and I'd run with things very quickly. If I've got a good feeling about it, I'm just going with it. So when I came up with the concept, I was like, right, I need to create a company name and a brand. And originally, when I came up with Technology Triumphs, I was like, that'll do for now. I'll change it later on down the line. And then we got big quite quickly. I was like, well, I can't change it now. The idea of technology was because I was a design technology teacher. So that was the connotation. Originally, I was just teaching DT, but it's expanded beyond that now. So, and then Triumph is just the positive connotation associated with the word triumph, that you're going to get through this, you're going to get qualification. So that's where that came from.
I love it. So if people want to connect with you to find out more about your courses, where should they come and find you?
Our website is the best place to come find more information. All the courses are on there individually, and within each one, I've put on free sample sessions, so you can actually see a taster of what the course looks like, see if it would work for your learner, that style of teaching, that style of learning. There's an information pack for each one, and then a link to our Facebook community group. So you can actually join the community group for that course, see some of the work that other learners have shared, or even ask other parents what their experience of the course has been. Because it's one thing me saying, yeah, the courses are great, come and book with us, but of course I'm going to say that. So it's better to get that sort of information direct from our families themselves. So we invite you to do that. So our website is www.technologytriumphs.co.uk.
Brilliant. And if a provider who's listening is thinking, oh my God, this sounds amazing, like I would love to build something like, they're doing something in their little field right now, where's the best place to chat with you?
To reach me directly is on my email address, which is technologytriumphs@outlook.com. If you contact us via social medias, that's my colleague Joe that picks up those messages. So if you want to message me directly, email is always going to be the best way.
Perfect. And obviously you're a finalist with us at the Class Business Award, and I can't wait to meet you on the 10th of October and just see where you're at after this summer period in building. What made you decide to apply for the awards?
We've applied for a couple of awards now over the last couple of years and had a bit of success, which is lovely. Don't get me wrong, it's an amazing feeling, but I actually think there's a lot of benefit, especially working in a remote way such as I do. There's a huge benefit from just going and mixing with people in similar industries. I think we all have so much to learn from each other. So, the social aspect of it, but networking from the business perspective is going to be beneficial, not just to me personally, but for my company, which then passes on to my families. So that is a big drive for it. If I'm completely honest, I do suffer quite badly with a bit of social anxiety. So it's really pushes myself out of my comfort zone, which is not a bad thing for us to be doing. It's challenging me to do it. So sometimes when I turn up to these events, I want to run a mile because it's a bit scary and intimidating. But I know that there's a lot of value and worth in doing it. And I always come away having had an amazing time. So no regrets at all. So that's why I'm excited to do it, to meet other like-minded people, see what I can learn from other people, see what I can share with other people as well, to offer better provisions for young people around the UK.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be, obviously there's lots of people in my world who got children of this age and, who are looking maybe for alternative options, for sure. Not everybody goes through the sausage machine, as I call it.
Exactly that. And it's not just home educated learners. We do have some school children accessing our courses for a variety of reasons. They're just doing them as extracurricular activities, and to boost their CVs. Or it could even be, particularly with creative subjects, when you come to choosing your GCSE options, I remember it happened to me at school. You don't always get the subjects you wanted, or they might not have been available because of budget cuts and things like that. So it might actually give them a provision that has been denied them in the school setting. So, and we do have adults on our courses as well. We have some of the parents joining in as well. So again, it's qualifications to boost their CV, or it's just something fun and light and a hobby to pursue. So
I love it. No, it's brilliant. It's a great business, and obviously it's doing having a massive impact and helping all those people and young people out there, and that's what it's all about, really. So amazing. You're doing amazing work, and I look really excited about seeing where this grows to over the next 5 years, because obviously you know where you're going. It's just obviously continuing to build it. So thank you so much for giving up your time today. For the interview. I'm sure everyone will appreciate it. And if you are watching this interview and Pip's story has resonated with you, please do get in touch with her. And obviously come and say hello to her at the event on the 10th of October. Don't be frightened of obviously connecting with everyone, because that's what it's about, and which is why we're doing these interviews, so everybody can get to know, and trust people before they come in the room, and obviously connect with people straight away. So thank you so much, Pip, for your time.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.